Hi, and welcome back to St. Thomas Aquinas for everyone. My name is Dave Palmer, and today is an exciting day with these videos because we get to finish the 5 proofs for the existence of God according to St. Thomas Aquinas, which he took from Aristotle, and we have been through 4 of them so far. And I've mentioned before that the 5th one is my personal favorite, and I just think it makes a lot of sense, and hopefully it will to you as well. So here's just a bit of a refresher of where we have been. We talked a few days ago about the proof through movement and the unmoved mover, and then the uncaused cause we discussed, possibility and necessity, and then yesterday we talked about the degrees of perfection and how we all notice things that have varying degrees of perfection, and there's got to be some being that has the ultimate of all perfections in him, and Thomas says, well, that's God. So today is the proof through intelligence, also sometimes called the governance of the world explanation for the existence of God. And Thomas starts off by saying, he always says this, we observe, again, through our natural reason, through our senses, we observe that some things lack intelligence. Now notice he didn't say some people lack intelligence, some things lack intelligence. So what does he have in mind here? Well, basically, anything that isn't a human being, an angel, or God is going to lack intelligence because those are the only intelligent creatures. Of course, in God's case, he's not a creature. So I could put a lot of examples up here, but a snake would be a non-rational creature. It has a sensitive soul, but not an intellectual soul. A dog. I know there are a lot of dog lovers out there that think their dogs are really smart, but Thomas would definitely say that a dog does not have a rational soul and therefore lacks intelligence, right? What about a tree? It doesn't even have a sensitive soul. It has a nutritive or vegetative soul. But, and again, this is all this talk about soul that's going to be coming up in a future video. I know we haven't really talked about that too much yet. And then how about a peacock? Okay, birds do not have intellectual souls. They don't have reason. They don't have rational faculties. And so this is what Thomas is talking about when he talks about some things lacking intelligence. But he goes on to say that even though these things lack intelligence, they act for an end in order to achieve the best result. Now, this is where Thomistic philosophy becomes very practical because we observe this every day in our life. I'll give you a lot of examples in the course of this video. So here's one. You ever seen a spider web? How the spider builds the web for a very specific purpose to capture flies or things that fly through, and then it goes and it builds the little wraps it and then sucks its blood and eats it, right? It's very designed, but the spider doesn't have intelligence. So who's directing that? That's the question that Thomas is trying to get at. How about ducks flying south for the winter? They do not plan this. They just seem to kind of know instinctively that when the weather starts to change, they fly south for the winter. And so this process is being carried out by non-intelligent beings. And this is what Aristotle and Thomas are curious about. So how is this happening, and who is directing this? And then the final example is the composting example that I used in one of the first lessons that I taught, is that this just kind of happens, and all these microorganisms and maggots and flies or whatever all kind of gather in the heat and the moisture, and just kind of all works out in a very organized way. But it really should make us wonder, how is this happening, and who, again, is designing it, right? They are designed in this manner, right? And all those examples I just used, there is a design that's happening. And so Thomas says they are being directed by an intelligent being. So if they are lacking intelligence and they are being directed, obviously, to some end, some purpose, right? Remember the final cause, the purpose, the end. See how it all ties together? All right, Thomas in the Summa uses the example many times. I've explained this before, of an arrow being shot by an archer, right? The arrow flies to the target, but it has been directed, and nobody would see an arrow flying to a target and figure that it just kind of is directing itself. And we can't assume either that these ducks or spiders or any other creature is directing itself. Something else is working out here. There again, as an arrow is directed to the target by an archer, This intelligent being directs all things to their end. Notice it didn't say all non-intelligent creatures, but even we, to some degree, are being directed to our end. And that's when free will comes in, and providence, and predestination. And these are all things that will be taken up in the Summa in later videos, right? And as you can probably expect, Thomas says that this intelligent designer who directs all things to their particular ends is God. Okay, so there's a lot of questions that come up when you think about this. Just how much is God kind of calling all the shots? Well, with the non-intelligent creatures, it's pretty much calling all the shots, right? Because they don't have reason, they don't have free will, they can't really disobey God's commands and what God wants of them. They just kind of carry out their duties in a very simple way. We are different, of course, and we'll get into that when we get into human nature. All right, a few more practical examples of ways that you can really test out this fifth proof of the existence of God in your everyday life. Let's have a few of them. A bird building a nest. Okay, you ever seen the nests? They're very intricate, they're very designed, they're purpose driven. How about a butterfly and nectar, or birds and nectar, bumblebees? Again, very much a purpose, a design, and carrying out for a proper end. And salmon swimming upstream. Okay, that seems very unnatural, but they just do it naturally to their nature. This is what they do. But again, why are they doing it? For a very specific purpose, to spawn in their case. Very interesting, okay? These are things that we see on a regular basis. You may not see salmon out your window, but you do see butterflies, and you do see birds most likely. And how about the design of ants? Ants are fascinating creatures. The mounds that they build, the way that they kind of create almost like a little society, and they all work together for a proper end. Again, they're not intelligent, but they are working towards an end. Okay, can you think of any other examples? There's a lot of them. Beavers building dams. I mean, there's a lot of them. So leave your comments. Let me know if this makes sense. Now that we've finished all 5 of the proofs for the existence of God, maybe you can say what one is your favorite. Are there any that you don't think quite make sense? Do you have questions about them? Which one would you use if you were trying to convince an atheist or an agnostic that there is in fact a God? So let me know what your thoughts are. And again, we are now finished with the 5 proofs for the existence of God. Hopefully you have them memorized and you can explain each one of these, at least basically, to somebody who asks. That would be hopefully the goal of these last 5 days. Tomorrow we leave question number 2 and we go into question number 3 through 10 approximately, and we're going to start talking about the attributes of God. What are the attributes of God? There's 7 main attributes. I'm not going to give it away, but they're very interesting, and we can begin to describe what God is, and really more importantly, what God isn't. All right, so it's going to be a lot of fun now that we've hopefully proved that God exists 5 different ways, and we're going to be on the assumption that there is a God. Now we're going to see, well, what is he like, and what are his attributes? So that's coming up next. Thank you for joining me, and please comment, share, and like this if you're enjoying it. My name is Dave Palmer, and this has been St. Thomas Aquinas for everyone. God bless you.